So every city has its equivalent of, let's say, what we in Bengaluru have as the Kadri Park or the Lal Bagh, and for those in Mangaluru, it's Kadri Park. In every park is that people will always walk in a certain sequence or a certain pattern.
Kripal, I recognize your voice only.
Whenever I come to Mangaluru, I feel like I've come home. Trees make such a big difference to the overall temperature of a place. Walking under the shadows here, it's cool. Like in Kannada, there's a word called tampu, which means very cool. This is what you see happening more and more of in Mangaluru. So you've got these large compounds, and they are making way to these high rises.
I also see you.
You see my YouTube?
Yes.
Nice to meet you. So nice to see people happy. I think that's the happiness that food brings. Hi folks, morning. It's a lovely sunny sort of a morning here in Mangaluru, and I just decided that I'm going to go for a walk. I was feeling a little cooped in the hotel room, and I got here yesterday and I had some work in Udupi, but I just decided to camp the night in Mangalore. You know, I'm a Mangalorean by birth, so for me, when I come back here, it's like coming home, returning home. One just feels so connected to the place, and so therefore the last time around when I had work in Udupi, I would still stay in Udupi and things like that. But this time around I said no, Mangaluru to Udupi is only about 50 odd kilometers, about an hour or so. And therefore I said, okay fine, let's stay in Mangaluru and do our work in Udupi. So I'm off for a walk, and I'm told out here in Mangaluru people go to Kadri for a walk, and so that's where we are headed. It's about 5 to 8 in the morning, not too early, not too late as well. So every city has its equivalent of, let's say, what we in Bengaluru have as the Kadri Park or the Lal Bagh, and for those in Mangaluru, going by the number of cars that you see here, is this park, which is Kadri Park. Here we are in Kadri Park. The one thing that I've realized in every park is that people will always walk in a certain sequence or a certain pattern, right? And you'll find that 80% of people walk in that direction. And then you'll have a few who will walk or jog in the opposite direction. Also quite similar in a manner of speaking to how the world operates, right? Most will conform and go in the manner of the majority, because very few people like to actually stick out or do something that is the opposite, that goes against the grain. I mean, I'm just saying this in a light-hearted, jestful sort of a manner. Beautiful, beautiful trees here. I wonder how big this path is. I can open my iPhone and figure all that out, but feeling a little lazy to do that. So in case you know any of that, please do post in the comments below. Excuse me, how long is this one round?
About 600 meters.
600 meters. Okay, thank you. 600 meters is the circumference, I guess, of one round. So if you do about 4 of these, you've done 2.5 kilometers. There's a track that runs parallel to the walking path, and they also have a mini train here. The last time I came here a few months ago, in the evening, we just came here to park ourselves on one of the benches here. We saw the train in action. So I guess it's a popular attraction for the children out here. Most people are viewing me with a bit of suspicion, and I wouldn't really blame them, because here's a guy who's walking with a bag and holding a stick with something that looks like a phone in front of it. So let me just focus on the walk a bit. So that's the train that you have out there. A very popular kiddie attractions if you've got kids. What time do they operate this?
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
After 5. What is your channel?
Food Lovers TV. You have YouTube? Look it up.
Food Lover TV.
You saw me?
Yeah.
That's me.
I'll subscribe.
Thank you. What's your name, sir?
Nelson Montero.
Nelson. My name is Kripal. Kripal Amanna.
Ah, Kripal. I recognize your voice only. You were just.
Whenever I come to Mangaluru, I feel like I've come home. Because I was born in Mangalore, in Father Muller's. To be honest, my connection with Mangalore is very limited. But for some reason, you know, when I come here, when I descend the ghats, or when the plane is landing, I feel like
Hometown.
a homecoming of sort.
Selfie.
Yeah, sure.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I daily watch.
Oh, what's your name?
My name is Pratik.
Pratik. Okay.
Yeah.
You're on my vlog. It's okay.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
It was great meeting you.
Thank you. Happy walking. Happy eating. Well, nice to meet food lovers wherever you go. I think if you want to meet the most active people in a city, head to the city's public parks. Hi. Oh, okay.
Food blogger, right?
Yeah, Food Lovers TV.
Yes, yeah.
What's your husband's name?
Naveen Kumar.
Naveen Kumar. Convey my hello to him.
Sure, I will. Very nice to meet.
Thank you. I like how there is the landscape bit, and then also in the middle of the park there are certain areas which feel almost forest like. I guess the next round I'll do inside. Once I've done a couple of rounds on the outside, so I know I've done a kilometer or so, then we'll walk in the inner perimeters, explore Kadri Park a little more. Okay, bye. Yeah, bye. Well, that was the boss. Of course, she's happy with the fact that I stepped out this morning, although I'm in a different city to go for a walk. But little did she know that I also wanted to do this to engage with you guys who are watching the vlogs. So of course, Mangaluru is also changing, and I don't know if you can see that, but on the horizon there's a skyscraper that's coming up. And that's the one thing that I see more and more of in Mangalore. I'm seeing so many of these skyscrapers, tall buildings come up. So traditionally people would have these large compounds and they would have their traditional homes, but I guess it's not very easy to maintain it, or perhaps with the generations that follow, that inclination to maintain that is perhaps reducing, and therefore you have some of those houses going away and tall buildings coming up. But I hope it doesn't change completely into that, because that would be a terrible travesty. So the outermost circle is the railway track for the toy train, and then you have a walking path, and then you have an inner circle. And I suppose there's some sort of a water body out there that perhaps gets activated later, I'm not sure. Let me know what you think of this vlog on this Insta360. I'm not using my phone, I'm not using any of my other cameras at all. I just thought this was very convenient. Nice to see that the lights, the LEDs are being powered by solar. Trees make such a big difference to the overall temperature of a place. Walking under the shadows here, it's cool. Like in Kannada, there's a word called tampu, which means very cool. That's what I'm feeling right now when I walk. So it's sunny. Of course, Mangaluru is hot, and yesterday as I was going around, I could sense that. But here it is very cool under the trees, under the canopy of the trees. There's a big eagle or a kite there. There he goes. This, I suppose, comes alive later in the day or perhaps in the evening. I like that in the center, I mean, of course, the weeds have overrun. You know, I don't like parks that are too manicured. I like parks which are little more unkempt, if that's the word to use. Like for instance, between Lalbagh and Kadri Park in Bengaluru, I like Kadri Park more because I find that it's a little more rustic, it's a little more unkempt in certain places. But when you look at flowers like these, that too looks nice. But just a bit of that unkempt, raw sort of character is also nice. So if you feel like working out, you also have a gym. Bharat Auto Car. So I think Bharat Heavy Electricals has probably made this train. The one thing about Mangaluru though is that when you indulge in activities like these, you really sweat. But somehow it also feels a lot more rewarding when you exercise here. You just feel like you've burnt more. I don't know if it has any basis in science, but just because you perspire more, I think there's a sense of satisfaction that you've worked out really hard and that you're dripping buckets of sweat. I always believe that life works in mysterious ways. So the last time around I was sitting here on this very same bench. When I came here for a brief visit in an evening, I was with the boss and a few other people. And as I was sitting here, I was just wondering, I said it'd be nice to come here in the morning for a walk someday. And 6 months later, I'm right here on the same bench, but this time after having taken a few rounds of this park already. I always believe that life works in mysterious ways, if you give it an opportunity to. I'm seeing this couple walk in front and I just saw a board a few steps ago which said, "Don't behave indecently in park." It's a little funny as to how things like these are viewed. I guess it's also a matter of culture, background, where people come from and all of that. A stark difference in the, let's say, a space like this in the West and out here. And there's no right or wrong. I guess it's a matter of perspective. But then again, things are changing, right? So the kind of traditions that the earlier generation would hold, or the kind of values that they would hold, is very different from what the current generation and those that will come in the future will hold. So I guess that maintain decent behavior while you're in park. I guess what defines decent behavior will change, has changed from what was acceptable in the past and will change too in the future as well. Let's not worry about all that. Let's just enjoy this walk in this beautiful Kadri Park. Also my last round before I head out to get some coffee. I don't know how it works here, but typically every park will always have this place or a spot around it which is popular with the morning walkers for a cup of coffee or some tiffin, light tiffin, etc. I don't know if this park has something like that, but if not, I have 1 or 2 coffee spots in mind where I can grab a quick cuppa before I get set for the day. Don't harm plant wealth. Words of wisdom there, words of wisdom. After all, plants are what sustain us. They take in the carbon, CO2 from the atmosphere, convert that into oxygen, which is life-giving. So there's even a tunnel that the train goes into. The clock struck 9. I guess time for us to leave Kadri Park, Mangaluru, until the next time. So I think after the morning walkers in the evening, this place gets quite packed. There's also a bunch of these chart carts and lining the street all the way till the end. There's also an eatery there which is fairly popular. I saw that the last time around. Didn't try anything though. If you're here in the evening, you can also catch on some chaat along with your walk. So that was the park that I walked in, but there's also another park right opposite. I'm told this is also a walking park, but I don't see anybody in there. Or do they open it only later in the day? I'm not sure. But I quite like the walk in the walkers park. So now that we've done some walking, I think I've earned myself a cup of coffee. Oh, there's Ghazali Seafood Restaurant and Bar there in the Circuit House. I've not tried it, but because every time I come to Mangaluru, it's the older places. I don't know how old this place is, because Ali in Mumbai I know very well, especially the one in Villepale, which I think is great. Some great Bombay duck that you get there, and also the crab, if you're feeling a little indulgent. Yes, coming back to coffee, I think I have earned myself a nice cup of coffee, and we are headed to a spot called Indra Bhavan that's been around since 1952. I also have an episode on Indra Bhavan where I've done a breakfast spread there. Do take a look at it. The tuppa dosa is legendary. They also make the sajjige bajal, which is very good. I'm not going to do any of that because I'm in my fasting window, but a cup of coffee, I surely will. This is what you see happening more and more of in Mangaluru. So you've got these large compounds, and they are making way to these high rises. The one thing that's also interesting about Mangaluru is a city of ups and downs. It's a city of hills, I suppose. So you have Lady Hill, you have Hat Hill, and you have these places. So you got to climb up, you then descend down. I only hope it doesn't change too much. Of course, for those of us who live on the outside, we are after all living in those modern cities and enjoying all those experiences. So it's a bit much asking or wishing that things change, remain like this for them, because I think with every generation, the newer generation has aspirations, and I think that's where the change happens, or that's where the transformation happens. Change is good, progress is inevitable, but I always wish, being the romantic that I am, that there can be a balance between change, between transformation and tradition. Namaskara, hegidira? I came for a quick cup of coffee. I'll have it sitting right here outside. Thank you, thank you. Well, that was Mr. Prakash Udupa, who is the second generation owner of Indra Bhavan, Pure Veg.
Good to see you, sir. Good to see you. But many congratulations. You have been one of the inspiring men.
Thank you.
Thanks. I following you from a very long time. I used to message you on our messenger.
Okay. What's your name?
Vinod.
Vinod.
People often, whenever we go to popular restaurants, they can see the impact of what a Kripal show can do. Especially on one particular outlet with Anand Biryani.
Anand, Hoskote.
Hoskote, which you sell somewhere 500 box a day. Now you can't imagine. One day we started shooting there. Once it went viral. Now we struggle a lot to go stand in the queue. Pick up our biryani.
Correct. That's the unfortunate part. Sometimes I feel sad for regulars, especially because the regulars who've been going, for them it becomes a little difficult. This is my coffee just the way I like it. And out here, the blend is such that it's a mixture of various blends, and I'm told within that there's a 70-30 of the coffee and the chicory. Probably a little more of the chicory as well, because that's what you're literally biting into when you're tasting the coffee. So good, so good. Namaskara.
I also see you.
You see my YouTube? Nice to meet you. What's your name?
Navneet.
Navneet. Nice to meet you, Navneet. So nice to see people happy. I think that's the happiness that food brings. Because I bring the food to them, when they see me, I guess they're reminded of all the food, and that's the happiness that comes to their face. So this eatery has been around since 1952. Very popular with the locals and extremely reasonably priced. 4 people can easily eat here, and the bill will not even cross 200 rupees. That's the sort of manner in which things are priced here at Indra Bhavan. If you haven't caught my Indra Bhavan episode yet, I've got 2. I've got one on the Food Lovers TV and I've got one on the vlogs as well. I'm going to place it in the description below. So do take a look and check this place out when you're in Mangaluru. It's also a place where people can come and catch up on the local happenings in this uru. Nimdu biscuit ambadal rodi nange mansagta ide, but I don't want to ruin my fast. I will return. See you.
Take care.
See you. Bye. These are the sort of houses that I really love seeing in Mangaluru. Of course, it's not easy to maintain with the Mangalore tiles. They're prone to leakages. Change ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲ ಹಾಂ 50 ವರ್ಷ. So I guess out here you can also replace maybe 1 or 2 of the tiles in case there's a leak somewhere. So where are you guys from?
From Bangalore.
From Bangalore. Oh, just look at the contrast of the old Mangaluru and the new Mangaluru. Huh?
Yeah. Hi.
Hi, hi, hi. My God, that's a big group, yeah? Have you guys come to play a sport or conquer a territory or something?
ಮಲ್ಲಿಕ ಬಿರಿಯಾನಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ
ಬಂದಿದೆ.
ನಮ್ಮೇನೇನೆ.
Thank you. Return today to Bengaluru?
Yes.
Okay.
It was a 3 days trip.
Okay. Independence Day.
Thank you.
Okay. See you guys. See you. Take care. Bye. Bye. See you. So on that note, the contrast between the old and the new, I think it's time to close this vlog here. I hope you enjoyed this short ramble through Mangaluru, the walk at Kadri Park, my coffee at Indra Bhavan, and of course my usual incessant, constant, agonizing ramble over things. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.